Alright, welcome guys to another video with Thunk Tank. Yeah, this is a bit different. I'm doing the whole face video. Uh, don't know how to honestly make this video using, I guess the typical, put up pictures. Talking about imbalance was easy because I could just, show stats and I guess show what I'm talking about. But Dying Kingdoms is a bit harder. Uh, I guess, what I could do is, or could have done is, join some of these kingdoms that I think would be classified as a dying kingdom and show you their leaderboards with three or two alliances and not many other alliances besides farm alliances underneath that. But I figured I'd just do a face video because why not? YOLO. So this issue of dying kingdoms is becoming a bit more of an issue, I think. Especially it's gonna continue to happen. It's gonna probably get exacerbated and by things like imbalance. Fun Plus has a goal at the moment to create 1,000 new kingdoms, which I think is important to have goals. But you also have to wonder, like, well, what are they classifying as a kingdom? Is it just a kingdom? Can they just make 1,000 kingdoms right now and be like, ha, there's our goal, met, done, we're amazing? Or, are they actually trying to make healthy kingdoms? Are they counting healthy kingdoms or kingdoms that were healthy at some point? I don't know. But from what I can tell right now, there are quite a few dying kingdoms. And, that's not going to help them out in the creation of more kingdoms because essentially what happens is players from dying kingdoms quit because they're not happy. That's why you quit. Maybe sometimes, life things or real life gets in the way. Real life, I hate it. And it, you have change in priorities and you just got to leave the game. That happens too. But when players leave because they're not happy, that affects the bottom line and that affects things like ratings, which, like I've said, if you really want to communicate to a games company, mention things in the ratings. That's when people start to pay attention. I think recently I was having a digging around online for Fun Plus because I didn't know much about them. I was like, all right, well, I know about KOA, but what is Fun Plus and what is Dian Dian Holding and Zongji Holding and all these big movers in the mobile gaming industry. And I found an interesting fact, a little fun fact. They opened up a job for a community manager 4 days ago. Community manager basically there to manage the community, but also promote engagement with the game, the developers, and I guess be a more effective voice for the players and communicating that information, concerns, satisfaction with the game developers. 4 days ago, which pretty much coincides with the release of 3.6, which, as we know, had a lot of mixed feedback. So I think there are things on their radar. It's like, oh crap, our ratings are going down. How do we get that up? Hopefully, they decide to handle the ratings by handling the game instead of, the community, because I think that's why we're all playing is the game. Not, well, I like you guys, and I'm sure we all like each other, but like, let's be honest, we're playing for KOA, not each other. We I don't know if I can dig myself up. Um, the game wouldn't be fun without all of you all, and all of us playing together. Obviously, this isn't a solo game unless you're a high tier spender, I guess. But anyways, getting off topic here. Um, so yeah, they're aware that there's an issue. How are they going to handle it? I hope they do it through addressing issues in the game. And Kingdoms Dying is definitely an issue in the game. Like just from doing a search on Discord, I was able to dig up quite a few people that have mentioned. And sorry about like the quality of this video and my hair. I just got out of the shower, and I gotta hold this mic, otherwise there's no volume. So, um, yeah. So I found a huge list here of Kingdoms Dying, and basically just searched this in Discord. So I looked for Dead Kingdoms or is my kingdom dead? Blah blah blah. Or people have contacted me directly and gone, "Hey, my kingdom's dead. I can't even kill Golem. We can get it down to 15%. It's like 1% lower than last time we were up against it. So we're doing well." I'm like, damn, that's sad. Like, can't even kill Golem. We kill it in our kingdom in maybe 6 hours after it comes out. Anyway, so the list is long, and I don't know how to do the whole like list thing overlay, so it's gonna just be me rattling off numbers for a little bit. So bear with me or fast forward. Kingdoms 2, 3, 9, 14, 18, 34, 39, 40, 43, 45, 49, 52, 54, 56, 60, 62, 73, 75, 76, 86, 130, 143, 147, 168, 189, 193, 228, 252, and 260. Wow, 260? Like, there's not even twice that many, servers. And that's just what I could find. So likely that there are kingdoms dying, that are even more recently made than that. And I think that is an issue. So, well, to me it is. So the main issue here is player attrition. That's effectively causes a kingdom to die. The rate at which people leave. And like I said in other videos, there's a lot of reasons why people stick around. There's a lot of reasons why people leave. I think one of the biggest reasons personally is imbalance. There's why is someone going to want to stick around for a couple months or more when they're just getting rated for resources every day by somebody with an overspent credit card on their account? And essentially what happens when you join a kingdom, your kingdom is new, it's hot, it's got that cool hot status thing. If you check it out, you can go see this on the global map, I guess, on your in-game. You click on kingdom map, and then there's like that little world symbol in the bottom right. Click on that, and then you can check out all the other, kingdoms and check out the names. Go to the outskirts of that and check out the new kingdoms. You'll see a little hot status, and that means these guys are basically getting in new players. As soon as you're not hot, which happens to all of us, you're basically dying. It's like when you hit 30. You were alive, and now you're starting to go downhill. I'm 32. So let's first talk about healthy kingdoms. And I'm thinking of like, what's a healthy kingdom? Imagining like some Marvin Gaye. I used to go out and you know what? I think I can play that now in the background. So we have these healthy kingdoms. These kingdoms tend to have like a good number of players. There's a good number of strong alliances. We'll say 7 strong alliances with a bunch of other alliances underneath that. There's a lot of allies going on. A bit of animosity. You got to have animosity in a healthy server. Otherwise, why fight? It's a war game. People want to fight, so it's good to have a bit of drama in KC. Like, oh shit, do you see what's going down in KC right now? Like, oh man, it's getting out of control. Popcorn emoji. Drama. So you need some of that. But when it comes to war, people are able to, like, maybe they get beat down every now and then, but they're able to take a strike back, or they're allied with somebody that can fight back for them. Maybe some ground rules set by some of the alliances in there that have said, all right, guys, like, we want this kingdom to last. And that's what the game becomes about. It's like, how do I prevent my kingdom from dying? And player attrition. And, people band together and form the round table of K whatever. And, these shall be how we conduct ourselves, these rules, these tenets. And then there's always one that always has to, like, jeopardize everything. But you gotta love those guys, because, like I said, to keep it interesting. But, by and large, everybody's on the same page. Unhealthy kingdoms, I'd say death metal, playing in the background, are where people are just getting smacked down all the time. Can't do anything about it. You're up against people that have 700% stats. You've got maybe 100 less, or just not enough to compete. Small number of active alliances, 3 or 4 tops, maybe a little bit more even, just not a huge player base. And like I said, some people can't even kill Golem, or some kingdoms can't even kill the Golem, which is, I guess, pretty sad. And this is all important from, not just a player perspective, but a developer and a business perspective, because dead kingdoms leads to less players, leads to people, well, like, why should I invest in this game if I'm leaving and it's not fun to play anymore? That affects bottom line. And, I think when it comes to, like, the different tiers of players, like, you got the spenders, rather, you got, like, the high tier spenders, which are the guys like, ooh, Deathseeker's out today. I'll have that. All of it, please. Thank you. And moderate spenders are like, oh, man, where am I going to get 960k gold to make Deathseekers? Maybe in a month or so I'll have it. And then there's like the free-to-play guys, which are just like, they're just fun. Like they have a lot of fun in KC, AC, and they make the game worth playing because they're just a bunch of characters. And some of them are smart too. They contribute. They care about the game. They help manage the alliance, stuff like that. But unfortunately, with how the game's progressed, they don't really provide much combat value because the game's all about stats now. And if you don't have these crazy stats, you know, yeah. So we have these three tiers of players, three different kinds of spenders, I guess, as far as the business is concerned. And the game's more or less concerned with like, all right, well, how do I entice these players to spend a little bit? Big tier spenders, they just want to destroy things. So give them high tier items. Moderate spenders, they normally, like myself, want to clear their throat and to have an advantage in battle. Just an edge. Like, oh, well, if I had this Valor now, I'd be stronger than that guy in that alliance, and I'd be able to hopefully turn the tide of battle. And then you have like, the lower tier guys. It's like, all right, how do I get these guys to spend? I take away their stamina packs. And then now they can only buy them. Genius. I'm sure there's other reasons for that, but I just wanted to throw that in there. And, these three guys are basically, you got the bread, the butter, and, the cream. So the high tier spenders actually bring in like over 50% of the revenue in most mobile strategy games, which is pretty crazy. So obviously, they're high priority, high on the list. But if you're just catering to these guys, people are going to keep quitting and leaving the servers, and then they have no reason to stick around. So for the free-to-play guys, and the moderate spenders, the meat of this game is about the journey from level 1 to level 30 after that. Like, there's no end game content. So you have two issues here affecting player attrition. You've got balance and you have end game content. So, and by end game content, I'm like, all right, well, I got the 30. Man, that was a lot of food. What do I do now? Now it's like, all right, well, what about KE? Ooh, yeah, I'm friends with everybody. It doesn't work out. I've been playing this game for a year. What about KVK? Yeah, guys, KVK, sweet. Let's go out there and, we'll have a crazy strategy. And then like, oh my God, SH31 with 600% stats, run, get out of the forest. So that's basically what happens. And at that point, you're just like, why am I sticking around? Like, to chat? Like, I got all these guys online or on WhatsApp. Like, I don't need KOA to chat to these guys, these jokers. So I think it's, an important issue, an important aspect of the game that needs to be handled, but it's not a KOA problem alone. It's unfair for me to say, like, this is, KOA's fault. Well, the inaction, like the lack of action, I guess, is KOA's fault. But this isn't a game, or this isn't a problem that affects KOA alone. Like, lots of other games are going through this issue of dying kingdoms and longevity and stuff like that, and balance especially. So yeah, it's not just KOA that's dealing with this. I don't think anybody has a solution yet, but it'd be nice if someone took charge and, led the pack and made a change. Because I guarantee you, they'd have a game that might outlast, the business. So, and it's not like there's not a lot of ideas out there on how to do this. In fact, I'm about to read you some from a player that really cared about the game at some point in her playtime back in March, that she wrote an entire document on how to do kingdom mergers right. And she goes by the name of Amethyst from K45. Shout out to you. Thank you, Amethyst. And I'll put a link in the description to the document, but I'm just going to read a few things. How am I going on time? All right. Mergers are a step in the right direction to help deal with dying kingdom issue, but mergers itself will only address symptoms of the problem that have manifested the rate of player attrition. Previous games, kings of two servers would have to agree on a merger between two kingdoms. However, no one wanted to merge, as kings often enjoy absolute dominance over their kingdoms. So mergers between dead and dying kingdoms should be mandatory, but also carefully examined. Otherwise, you might just, if you're just taking this kingdom and that kingdom, they both feel kind of dead. That's not how they should handle it at all. Because what you could do is just make a deader kingdom, or you could accidentally destroy a kingdom that was doing okay. So there's a lot of things that need to be considered, like stats. I think definitely stats need to be considered. Gear, kills, lord level, stronghold level, stuff like that. And wait up, and then, will merging these two old dying kingdoms work? and won't necessarily work for the newer kingdoms, but I think, for the most of us that have been playing for about a year or more, I think it's worth doing for us because a lot of us still want to play, but there's nothing to stick around for. So, well, I'm leaving for other reasons too, financial mainly. Still, mergers are a way to provide actual endgame content to the long-term players, the ones who have supported KOA and are becoming increasingly disenfranchised by the game and its overall direction. Currently, there isn't any in-game content that makes sense. KVK does not inspire war. As soon as you see someone that has stats well above your own, people leave KVK alone. So the proposal makes a whole bunch of other interesting suggestions. Please check it out. It's in the description. And like I said, while most of us want to see mergers, I think there's this big issue of longevity, like what happens after, mergers. It's just a band-aid. Really, what are we doing after, what else is there? Is there anything else there? Like, can we get some more strategy features, perhaps? I think that's a really big, important consideration because at the moment, everybody's just following the same business model, the same game design. I mean, check out all the different mobile strategies you can. They look very similar in playability. And FunPlus is doing really well. So I did some digging around. Huge company, 400 plus staff, multiple games. From KOA, they earn over 100,000 average from KOA. That's a lot of money. Some days 150,000. 30 programmers, over 30 programmers, and they have these job descriptions. I didn't know, I've never heard of this before, but they're called game operators. So I did some digging around, like, what is a game operator? Like, do they legit just sit there and play a game? No. These guys do a bunch of different things, but as well as community feedback and engagement, they report to, the development team, the guys that do the design, and this caught my eye. Identify influential players to build strong relationships with them and ensure they are well looked after. So, I mean, like when I read that, like everything, the penny dropped, and I'm like, yes, it is a business. And they want to look after, the cream, basically, the 1% that brings in the 50%. But when you just listen to those guys and the other guys leave because they're not being listened to, what then? It's like, I'm just thinking of Marie Antoinette. Let them have cake, like Merlin Trials. Anyway, so yeah, they're doing really well. They were sold back in 2015 for $960 million. That's Dian Holding that owns FunPlus, to a giant construction company called Zhongji Holding. Like, that's $1 billion. And it was an interesting number too. I'm like, 960 million. If that was gold, that's exactly how much it would cost to make Deathseeker's sword. I think that's just a conspiracy theory. But my point is this, like, these guys are doing well, perhaps well enough to take some risks and try to make the game, different from the rest. Like, what do you got to lose? I mean, the ratings, I don't know. Like, if, do something. Do something. I think if they gave this a shot and really put some effort into it, they could separate themselves from every other mobile strategy game out there to date. And maybe, set the mold for how games should be played. And otherwise this game is, unfortunately, I mean, what do I know? I'm not a professional gamer. I'm just a guy that for the first time, downloaded a game, got really obsessed with it, and now I'm making YouTube videos about why I'm, how sad I am and wow. But at one point I really liked this game, and yeah. So, keep doing what you always did, and you'll always get what you've always had. And, I don't think what they have right now is a winning brand or a winning game. So if they really want to, do right by themselves and the players, give it a shot, get in touch with the community, show them that you're listening, besides having the moderators, saying, hey guys, they can hear you. It's like, why can't they tell us that? Also, when they release, updates and stuff like that, yes, especially if you implement player feedback, let them know that you specifically implemented their feedback. Don't say optimizations. Like, when people read the suggestion that they've been suggesting for ages suddenly get implemented, let them know. Like, they'll love you for that. Because at the moment it just seems like they don't see that stuff. They just see the problems with the game. But that's not a way to like hide the problems. You still have to deal with the problems, KOA. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. It was long and kind of ad hoc. Don't know how to do much of YouTube editing. But yeah, this will be my last video, and I think probably one of the more important videos that I make about KOA. I have one more video to make, and that'll be this upcoming KE, which I think is going to be pretty fun, honestly. It's just going to be, yeah, everybody's agreed. We're going to have war, so it's going to be good. Hopefully I have some great footage to show you guys, or I'll have a 1 second clip of me just getting zeroed by an angry mob of K68ers. Haters? Oh man, I'm totally using that. Alright guys, I'm off. See you guys later, and stay safe out there.